where I have lemon herb or lemon balm and some mint in there. And even some, can you see the purple flowers?
Yes, I
Violet in there.
do. I love
It's
that.
just pretty and it encourages me to drink water.
Okay, James, I'm gonna go ahead and make you co-host now, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, and Miss Deborah, you are now host once again. Thank you all so much. I hope you do enjoy your session.
Thank you, Lina.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Grisha. Looks like you're joining from two devices. Is this going to be a husband and wife team here today?
My mute is off. The dog. Stop.
I hear it. I hear your dog. Excited.
Plural.
Dogs,
Two.
okay, plural. I'm going to
But
turn my volume up so I can hear you better.
Looks like you have a beautiful kitchen.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
This is the first time I think I'm in this class, although I've been in a lot of other classes, and I'm very interested in cooking.
Okay. So this is your first one with me. Good
Yes.
Good to know.
Yes.
Welcome. So we're
But
just getting started with doing some things out of the kitchen, but I have a lot of other classes, and this one is really a free form. It's the first time we've done this. And so this particular one, usually I have topics. I teach classes like healthy meals on a budget and healthy desserts and soups from scratch and heart healthy meals. I teach all kinds of things around food. But this one is intended to be a just open discussion to talk about what you would like to discuss about food. So in some ways,
well, that's interesting. I don't know if you were in the class yesterday, but Norman clarified something as far as interest and actual cooking demos and things, and I appreciated it because some of the classes I thought this is about where are the recipes? We're just talking, but he clarified it. But I recognize you that I've seen you. I just quickly, I'm 99% plant-based since I lost my husband, which is a few years ago. But I must tell you how far back my interests go. I had a shop called Pampered Pantry where I sold everything related to the kitchen. And I spent a week in Provence with Julia Childs and Simone Beck.
oh my goodness, what a dream that was.
Yeah. Just to be at there and to be alone in the kitchen with Julia Childs in her modest kitchen was an experience.
I think we need to hear more about that, Grisha, as we move on in this session today. Maybe you'll spend a few minutes and tell us about your experience, if you don't mind.
Just keep in mind, this is in the 70s.
That's okay. You know, just anybody else spend time with Julia Child?
And I'm expecting somebody to come. So if I up and leave, that's why I don't have, if I up and leave for a minute, I'll be back. But I'm going to mute so as to give somebody else time to visit with you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. I'm glad you joined today.
I'm looking forward to it. It's a nice break for other things that I have on my mind, a nice diversion.
Yeah, cooking is a good diversion. Anything food, especially
Right.
if you're a foodie and if you've been.
I am a foodie and have been in my whole family, my sisters, my mother, yes, I come from a family of foodies as well.
I bet you can tell us a lot, and we'll come back to this, but do come back because we'll do these regularly. I think that it will be very interesting to hear from you about the things that you sold in your shop, as well as your experiences with the chefs that you spent time with. So this is perfect for this kind of a dialogue. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, Deb. You're welcome.
Yeah. And welcome to Jeannie, seeing you again here today. Nice to see you. And Teresa. And Marjorie, we are really spending a lot of time together. There's Carol Sue. And hi, Barbara. Barbara, have we met before?
No, I'm new at this, and I've been sitting here trying to make a list of saying what fabulous things can I contribute, but so far my list is empty.
You know what? Don't worry about that. I'm not going to put you on the spot. You can contribute as you would, but I might.
The only one thing I have on that I was thinking of putting on my list that has nothing to do with cooking, but you know, the little gadget that you use to squeeze lemons, the little, you know, it's like a cup and has handles. You put the lemon in and squeeze the handles together. Well, when you get lemons and you go to squeeze them and you have to go look for that thing, store it in the fruit drawer of the refrigerator. And every time you go to get a lemon, that's where it's going to be.
Hey, that's a fantastic tip. You know, that sometimes the simplest things really make all the difference, don't they?
Well, it helps me, and I don't have to go hunting for it in the pantry or in that drawer or whatever. It's always where the fruit is.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that drawer where everything disappears. So, well, welcome today then. I'm glad you're joining me. There are several people here who are familiar with me and have attended a lot of my cooking classes. So we do some in front of the computer where I curate recipes and talk about them. And I always test the recipes. So I'm passing on what I've tested. And then we are also starting to do some work from kitchen. So I'm just getting up to speed on that. And I thought today's conversation I could bring into the kitchen today, and we'll kind of grow from there. So I really am interested to know about why you came today, why all of you came today. And if there's anybody here that doesn't want to speak, just kind of give me a little sign on that. You can give me a thumbs down, or you can do something with the reaction if you don't want to speak, so I don't call on you. But otherwise, I think I'd like to just get the conversation started. First, I'll welcome you formally. My name's Deb Livingston, and I am a guide for Get Set Up, and I live on the East Coast in York, Pennsylvania. So I've been guiding for about a year or so now, and I just recently became what we call the domain lead for all things food and cooking. So we are ratcheting up the topics around food and cooking. And if you could see me, I'm like that proverbial duck that's kind of going along the surface, but paddling like crazy underneath. That's me right now as I'm creating some ideas that you might all enjoy. And one of the things that's really important to us at Get Set Up is that we reach out to you to make sure that we're going after things that are important to you and that we're also involving you. So I'd like to as we go through this today, along the way, as you're thinking of ideas or thinking about things that say to you, oh, I'd like to know more about that, or I wouldn't mind learning this. Please just tell me. And then I'd also like to talk to you about how you might like to engage with me, because one of the things that we do is get our learners engaged in kind of co-hosting things where I host, but then I bring you on to talk about things that are near and dear to you. So for instance, Grisha, you might just come on for a session with me, and I might ask you questions to talk you through your experience with Julia Child, and that would be our session for people who might be interested. So I'm super interested in what you might like to talk about, and we could have fun doing that. Another idea that I had, and you can think about this as well, is that we could cook together. So I have the kitchen. I wouldn't expect you to necessarily cook from your kitchen, although you could if you were set up to do that. But you might have some recipes, and maybe you have a particular type of cuisine that you like and a specialty dish. And maybe we could collaborate where you could send me the recipe, I could get the ingredients, and then you could talk me through it. We could do it together in our separate locations. So that could be fun. Just brainstorming and thinking of ideas, and your ideas are welcome. So now I'm going to kind of shut up and let you talk a little bit. And just wanted to know why you decided to show up today. What would you enjoy talking about for this very first session on Let's Talk Cooking? Can we start? Do you mind if I call on you? Would it be a problem if I did that, just so we don't talk over each other? Could I ask Marjorie to go first?
Hey, I started coming to these classes because I want to go more plant-based. I was never a big eater, of meat. But as I get older, I think I'm getting more of the arthritic pains and the bloating and everything that spells problems with food. So I'm trying to learn as much as I can about plant-based eating. So that's why I'm trying to come to these classes, and I'm going to try out all the recipes. I want to try to incorporate that.
Okay. All right. So plant-based is important to you. Can I ask you,
Yeah.
Marjorie, what made you land on plant-based?
Well, I have arthritis. I have, of all kinds. I started getting some more problems during the past year with my digestion,
Okay.
and I thought that cutting the meat out would help.
Okay.
And for a few years, I can't tolerate milk, and I still have been eating cheese and so on, but I'm trying to get rid of that as well. I think a lot of my problems are due to my eating.
Okay. Yeah, and it's an important point that you bring up, and it's such an individual question for our own physiologies, because some people do really well on a plant-based diet. Some people do very well on a paleo or a low carb diet, and it really does depend. So it's not one size fits all. And that's one of the challenges that we have here at Get Set Up, trying to get into all of that. But one of the things we are moving toward, where I'd like to go, is to, I'm working on getting a functional medical doctor. I hope I can get him to talk to us about food lifestyles, all the things that you're talking about, plant-based, paleo, keto, the variety of ways in which you can attack your diet, and let him talk about it from a large perspective to help you think about which one might be right for you, and then start to build in tracks or different focuses. So people who are interested in plant-based can come to those classes, and people who are interested in keto or low carb can come to those. So that's, I appreciate what you're saying there, and keep looking for more of those things. I hope that you're getting some information from the interest groups now. Are you involved in the plant-based interest groups?
I haven't joined that one yet, but I certainly, that's one I think I will join.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So today you're interested in maybe getting, if anybody has some good plant-based recipes.
Recipes and so on.
Okay.
I want to try.
Okay. So, all right. How about you, Teresa?
Well, I went to your first class on stocks and broth. And as you know, my second class I was in with you, I had made chicken broth. Well, yesterday I went to my favorite market, both vegetable and meat. And I bought the following. I have leek, Napa cabbage, broccoli, green beans, and okra. And I was going to make a vegetable stock. My question has to do with okra. I love okra. And I know that a lot of people think it's slimy, but I wondered if it would fit the stems of it into this vegetable stock.
I don't see why not. Let's try that. I haven't personally tried it, but I think it's worth worth a try. Yeah.
Okay.
It might make it, I don't know if it'll thicken it a little bit, but I don't know that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think the taste would be fine.
Well, this will be my first attempt at a vegetable stock. So, and my daughter-in-law and my son are both vegetarians. So I have to watch when I cook for them to make sure that I don't, it's amazing what you'll find that, has something in it that they do not want to eat. So,
Yeah. What have you learned? What are some of the things that you learned that surprised you when they said they didn't?
well, my daughter-in-law is also gluten-free.
Oh, that can be a
And-
fine.
And one of my daughter and one of my grandchildren, it's just you have to read the ingredients all the time, because of the things you find in food.
Yeah, even ketchup has gluten.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are real traps.
Mm.
So, okay, well, good luck with the vegetable stock today. I was just working yesterday in the kitchen on some recipes for some upcoming classes, and I was chopping vegetables right and left, and I just brought my crock pot over to the counter and threw everything in and turned it on, and then I cooked it for several hours, put it in the refrigerator last night, and then if you see this here, next week we're doing a class on cream soups, and I've got a soup in here that I'm testing the recipe on right now. So that's
Well, I just found out
out.
that my husband, who is a diabetic and also on kidney dialysis, unfortunately, they have now said he shouldn't be eating things that are cream based. I love them, but they are so strict with his dietary needs that I really have to watch that too. And this was a new one they added.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the great thing about these cream soups. There are options for making them that don't involve dairy, don't involve cream. So that's part of the
Good.
enchantment of these cream soups, is to learn other ways to make them, because it's not very challenging to make a delicious soup with heavy cream. It tastes good, heavy cream and butter, but it is more of a challenge to get that same richness and enjoy it without dairy and not miss the dairy. So we'll talk about some of those. Not all of them are dairy free, but most of them have a dairy alternative. And these days with all of the other, and some of you probably know this, what are some of the alternatives to dairy that you might have used in soups?
I've used almond milk. My own feeling is that nothing takes the place of, just like what you said, Deb, heavy cream. I mean, I used to love vichyssoise. Oh my gosh. And you got to make that with cream. But I have substituted. It's adequate, but nothing. I think there's a difference. But I am plant rich now. So I think of, what, for 99% of the time.
Yeah. And then you can afford to have most of the time a little bit of a splurge on some cream here and there.
Right.
But when you're looking at your health for health reasons, then you do find that you can make some compromises and come up with something that's pretty good if you're not comparing it to Julia Child's kitchen.
No, you're right. You're right. Well, I am the last person that would ever become plant rich. My whole family, as I told you earlier, Deb, we are all about the food. I could talk hours, my sisters, my children. I mean, that's the way it's been for 100 years with my family. But the only thing I do want to add is that since I've been plant-based, and I did it kind of because I was concerned about my cholesterol and my kidneys and my blood pressure. And believe me, it has made, for me, a huge difference. My cholesterol's down like 75 or 100 points. My blood pressure's down. My A1C for borderline diabetes is in control. It's under 6. So it's, for me, it's because I'm very health conscious. I do everything that I can to take care of myself. But I will only add, there is nothing like the real stuff when you're cooking, I think. So there's nothing I've made that's vegan and my children are vegan too now, that I can say, this is fabulous,
Mhm.
but I eat it anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the benefits outweigh
Right, that's for sure. That's a
detriment.
good way of putting it.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: when you were on plant-based, did that also, or as you, a few of you are doing plant-based, are you also adjusting in your carbohydrates, your refined carbohydrates? Have you done anything with those, or are you still eating the same in that respect?
I would say I look for special ingredients in bread because I absolutely love bread. And I try not to have too much refined sugars, but I need a little sweet of something at the end of the day or late afternoon. I always have a sweet potato because I know that's healthy. So I'm not and the only other thing is I do try to have wild salmon in my diet because I just feel it's important. So with me, it's nothing's 100%, but I just do the best I can. And if I was invited someplace and they had something, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm a vegan or I'm plant-based. I would eat it, but it's few and far between.
Marjorie, I see you're shaking your head. You feel that you do that as well?
Yeah, I want to try to go vegan, or at least cut out as much of those products as possible. Because like I said, I don't know whether I'm allergic or whatever, but to milk and all the products and so on. And I've been gradually trying to replace them. And I think, like Grisha said, I noticed when I've cut out the gluten as much as possible, I feel better.
You feel better. Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do, to replace as much of that bread, and get rid of the bread and all the rest of it. But you're having problems kind of, something else to take the place of that. Vegetables are fine, but sometimes I need something a little bit heavier.
Yeah, it is really hard when you're eliminating those kinds of carbohydrates and you're eliminating meat, because then you are lowering the number of choices you have for bulk and for things that really fill you up, like
Yeah.
Of course,
I try to go as organic as possible. If I can, I try to go. If I can't find it organic, then I'll go to the farmer's market. So this is how I try to shop.
Yeah, that's really great. I volunteered. I was on the board of directors. We saved a farm in our local area, and that farm we created as an agricultural education center that was focused on growing farmers, local small farmers that grow organically, sustainably, now regeneratively. And one of the things that we always said was, know your farmer, know your food, because even if you buy organic food out there in the vast marketplace, you don't exactly know what you're getting. But when you go to a farmer's market, you can talk to those farmers and say, how do you grow this? And what do you use pesticide? What pesticides do you use? And you may be surprised to find that there are a number of small growers who have a great deal of pride and passion about what they grow, and they cannot afford to be certified organic because it's quite an expensive process to go through. So what they will often do is they will grow what they call pesticide free. And so they can't call themselves organic because the USDA has garnered that as a certified stamp, but they can say that that's how they grow. And you only find that out sometimes by talking to the farmer. So engage them in the conversations. They like to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeannie, how about you?
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure what to expect from this class, but I just am always looking for different things on how to cook and recipes and just doing different things. Like I've been trying to just eat more healthy. And what I consider that is more ingredient based as opposed to things that are packaged together. I am trying to add more plant-based meals just because that seems it's well, I think it's sort of a buzzword right now, but it's also, I've heard good things about it in terms of health. And, I've always had vegetarian meals here and there, but definitely not a vegetarian, not a vegan, but I'd like to supplement some of the things, because I think that a variety of foods are important for health and balance.
Yes.
And I'm starting to have some issues too with digestive things are bothering my stomach. I seem to get upset stomach from a lot of things that I never had before, or never issued before. Tomato based stuff is one thing, and I love like tomato sauce. And the other thing is, I think milk is also, I'm getting to be a little bit lactose intolerance, but it's not excessive that I have to avoid it completely.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting that lactose intolerance is actually a genetic, we're intended to be lactose intolerant. It's sort of a genetic mutation that we aren't when we're younger. And in fact, in the Asian countries, they are lactose. That's just how they are. They're lactose. They don't have dairy in their diet. So it's not unusual to become lactose intolerant. It's not really that there's anything really wrong with us, except we got used to having all this dairy from when we were small, and now we have to cut it out of our diets.
And I also heard like the tomato-based foods also are something that start bothering people as people age.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I notice I can't eat if I go out to dinner or make spaghetti at home. If I make it for a later dinner, that's it. I have an upset stomach all night. But if I eat it early enough in the day, it's okay. Or if I eat smaller portions, so that's what I'm just trying to do.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I think our digestion changes so much. The acidity in our stomachs changes, and over time we end up with less acidity, and that corresponds to slower maybe digestion, and so causes all sorts of issues. And then of course, if you have any kind of laxity there in your esophageal sphincter, then if you lay down and you get an acid reflux kind of thing happening in this area, you can get nauseous or you can get that burning. And so that tends to happen more with age. And so they do say we should stop eating early enough, several hours before we go to bed. And it sounds like that's one of the issues that you have. If you eat too late at night, especially some things like tomato.
Yeah, even if I eat anything that's tomato based, like if I have pizza or spaghetti with red sauce, even if I eat that at the same time I were to eat something without spaghetti, something without tomatoes, I can eat at the same time. That the timing doesn't bother me, but I think it is the acid reflux from the sauces of the tomato based stuff. So I have to just make sure I eat those types of things earlier in the day, not for dinner anymore.
I think it might be interesting for us to have somebody, maybe this functional medicine doctor or somebody on at some point to talk about that whole issue of digestion and acid reflux, because it's so difficult to tease out. I've had the same kind of things happen, and I go through bouts of it. I'm perfectly fine right now, but I went through some period of time and had to do some elimination of some foods. And for me, it was carb things. If I eat refined flour over a period of time, breads, lots of sandwiches, that sort of thing, and I'm just not mindful of it, it seems to build up for me, and then I end up not feeling well. Dairy too is starting to bother me. So I think we share those things in common as we age, and it would be nice to get some pointers for how to handle that without depriving ourselves either. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I wasn't sure what to expect with this either. And so that's why I'm asking you, what do you want to expect? What would be fun? What would be really fun to do on these Let's Talk Cooking classes? Add your thoughts as you think of them as we go along. So let's see, who haven't we talked with? How about you, Carol Sue? Are you there?
Of course I'm here.
Good
I enjoy attending your classes. Well, the thing is I've learned a lot taken from you, but and from others. But the thing is I was thinking more of a cultural taken, basically slant to taking things, cultural taking side to things, because there's maybe a dish that basically is really taken and wonderful that I would have never taken thought of mixing the ingredients together. you
Mhm.
know, and we all can take and basically contribute or bring ideas, you know, and also like Heloise's cooking taking hints, you know, do this, don't do that. This has failed for me. This is not taking a failed for me, you know, that sort of taking in taking thing. I get bored very easily as far as eating is concerned, and I usually take and cook for the week and put it in the refrigerator and make my own my free refrigerator and freezer and make my own sort of kind of TV dinners because I can't stand to take in and cook. So the thing is you know, I do all my prep work one day, or and then basically then I take and go hunting in the refrigerator, especially in that fruit drawer, to see what is going to take and say hello to me. Um, but the
Like
thing is, you know, is I guess it's beating taken in boredom as far as eating. The other thing that I have thought of was this, that is if it would be possible, because we see spices and herbs taken out there. You know, the thing is you know what spice partners with which. You know what I'm saying?
uh-huh.
And what spices partner with which, because the thing is what I know that spices have like a 2-year taken in window, but the thing is if I buy it just for one taken in dish, I don't know what to take and put it in for another dish. I
That's
mean,
a great point. Yeah, I like that. Yes.
you know,
So,
do I take and put the thyme with the marjoram? Can I get away with it? Is it going to taste bad on lamb? I'm just making things up because I don't know, you know. So the thing is what basically what spices partner would take and basically which,
yeah,
and what
yeah.
is what would be the bare skeleton that would be very versatile for me to take and pull out without breaking my budget.
Okay. So a blend of some sort that you could use
Well,
and
no, not a blend. Well, no, we don't necessarily mean a blend. No, what I'm saying is, what if I walked into your taken cabinet, okay, what spices do you two use pretty much almost every taken day? You
oh,
know, oregano, parsley, whatever. And what taken basically, what spices do, you know, would take and go if I wanted to make a French chicken dish? What do I take and have that I could take and put in that is not, so I won't have to throw it away? That
well,
sort of thing.
yeah, I'm excited about all those ideas that you have. She said a mouthful. Anybody, did that resonate? Anything that she said there resonate with anybody else that you would like to hear those things? Go ahead and unmute yourself and chime in on what Carol Sue just said.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I know several years ago when I was home recovering from a surgery, I got hooked on like the Food Network and the channels and things. And I was never I would never call myself what I would call a cook. I was always a recipe follower because I didn't learn. My mother wasn't a good cook, so I didn't learn that way. But by the time I shouldn't say about it, over time, I got to the point where I could taste in my head different recipes. So I think that plays into what she was saying about what goes together with what. So if I would read a recipe and say, oh, like rosemary and thyme are ones that go together commonly, but it's like I could look at it and say, oh, rosemary and thyme, and then I sort of could mentally taste it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, as I expanded different spices, the same thing.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I was thinking as you were talking, Carol Sue, about your lamb, I was thinking about chicken and how I really came to appreciate using tarragon with chicken. And so that's an idea, and another one of those things. What goes with what? And
one other thing, vinegars, making flavored vinegars or flavored olive oils, and how to do it.
mm-hmm.
Because Christmas and Hanukkah's coming up. I am not rushing the calendar. Trust me, I'm not. You know, but that's another idea.
All right. Anybody do any of these things? Anyone feeling called by any of those things Carol Sue just said that says, hey, I know about this. I could speak about this a little bit with me. You know, anybody interested? Feel like you would be there?
I would be very interested in finding out about the herbs, how the herbs can blend in with your foods and so on, because a lot of herbs they're finding now are very helpful when it comes to ailments and so on. So they want to encourage us to use them, but I don't know how.
Okay.
Also, if we use the herbs, we can decrease the salt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And also drinks like fruit drinks, because they don't want us to use pops and so on now, but they really haven't replaced it. We know there's water, but sometimes they may need like a lemonade and just orange in water or something like that, some kind of fruit to make a drink, something like that.
So look, here we go. So talking about herbs and fruits and things. So what do I have in here? You can't maybe, let me wipe the sweat off. First of all, that's really pretty when I see it, when I come down and see it on my
Yeah,
counter.
it's pretty.
And it encourages me to drink more water, so we stay better hydrated. And what do I have in here? I have lemon, and I went out in my garden today and I clipped off some fresh mint, and I clipped off some fresh lemon balm. And then just for prettiness, I clipped off some wild violet flowers and viola flowers and threw them in there too. So
Yeah.
that's on the counter, and it encourages me to drink something. And if I wanted a little more sweet, I could throw just a little bit of fruit juice in there, or I could throw just a little bit of stevia in there to give it a slightly sweet taste, just to alter it a little bit.
I know I'm from the West Indies. I'm from Barbados growing up, and we used a lot of drinks like that. We would just, the lemon and the limes, we would make just a drink with it. Sorrel, it was just a plant, we'd make a drink with it. A lot of those things we would use, just water and those, either sometimes you boil them or steep something, but you just made a drink with them. And that's what we used growing up, those drinks,
Did you say you were from Barbados? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Mhm.
So that is something, it sounds like though you kind of got away from.
I don't use as much now, but I like to go back to it. But we never really use soda pops. We never really use sodas. But those are the things we grew up drinking, those fruit juices.
Yeah.
That made,
So good.
that weren't commercially made. We made them at home. And that's what I would go back to.
You would go back to. Yeah, and a little bit of fruit juice. One of the things that I've done with fruit juices, because I know we're not supposed to drink a lot of sugary fruit juice, is to get some mineral water or something with a little bit of fizz, with just a little bit of fruit juice in it, but fill the rest up with ice and then the sparkling water, just to give us a hint of the fruit in there. Now, some people don't react very well to fizz and don't like it or don't digestively handle it very well. So you do have to watch that, I guess. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for all those great ideas, Carol Sue. I think that's, I made a long list. I'm taking notes on everything all of you said. And so that's great. And let's see, we haven't heard from Garnetta. You want to join us, Garnetta? Are you there?
Okay, I'm here. When the young lady was talking about that she likes pop, I don't know where you're located, but I'm in Detroit, Michigan, and we have a store called Walmart. And they have a sparkling water, no calories, no sugar, and it's very tasteful. And I've been using that since I stopped my Squirt and my Vernors and my Cokes and whatnot. And it's been working for me for at least 5 or 10 years now.
Wonderful.
So that's an option of trying different kind of sparkling water. And I've tried them all, but Walmart brand for me was the best one that replaced drinking pop.
Okay. So there's no sugar,
And,
no sweetener. They're sugar-free and sweet and not sweet.
yes. And they have different, like strawberry and banana, vanilla cream, plain strawberry, grape. They have all different ones that you could choose from.
Is that
But
called
anyway,
ice?
no, it's not the ice. The ice is that little skinny bottle.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I like about ice is the ginger lime.
Yeah, that one's good. And I get the Fuji apple one. It's called Clear American. It does take, it has it's got 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 caffeine, 0 sodium. But it is but it has aspartame and acetylsulfame potassium, so it does have artificial sweetener in it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's probably why it tastes so good.
I'm going to suggest
I
that.
like the black cherry.
What's
Mm. I like black cherry ice.
Black cherry.
Okay.
Good flavor.
Right. So it's a good substitute because of the high content of your Vernors and your Cokes and things like that. So it was a good
Can
substitute.
anybody weigh in on aspartame?
I'm sorry.
Can anybody weigh in on aspartame? Somebody mentioned that being an ingredient. Go ahead, Jeannie.
I avoid all artificial sweeteners. I can't stand the taste, but my mother had health issues with having the aspartame. It would break her out in hives. So yeah, so there's some people who cannot tolerate it at all, not just because like me, I can't tolerate it because of the taste, but I used to drink Diet Coke. I got used to it and drank it, and I gave that up. And I avoid any of those flavored waters that have any kind of artificial sweeteners. There's a few out there that have, like Hint is one of them that doesn't have any sweetener at all. So it doesn't have any sweetness. So it's not going to give you that same soda feel or satisfaction, but you train yourself to drink other things. But it's hard to find. You have to really read labels now with it, because it's hard to find things, because everybody advertises low sugar or no sugar, and then they hide these artificial ingredients in the list that, unless you read everything like you do when you're gluten-free, they're hiding in there. Now, Deb, you made a comment about stevia. What's your thought about stevia versus other sweeteners? Because I heard that wasn't considered artificial.
It's not. Stevia is an herb, and I'll show you something here. I grew stevia in my garden, and I dried it. I dried the leaves like you would, it grows like tea, or like mint. And I dried it in my oven, and then I powdered it in my coffee grinder, and this is what I came up with. So this is stevia raw. So what I can do now is I can stir this into a drink. Now it's green, and it doesn't completely dissolve, and it's very much sweeter than sugar. So a little tiny bit goes a long way. And some people don't like it because it has a little slightly bitter aftertaste. Again, a little bit goes a long way. You can't put a lot in. That enhances the bitterness. But then there is the sweet leaf. There's something like this that comes out that's processed so that the stevia will dissolve. It's white like sugar. And this particular one has inulin in it, which is a fiber. That's a natural ingredient. And stevia leaf extract and a little bit of silica. Now, I'm not exactly sure. I have to look into that a little bit, but I think that on the whole, if you need a little bit something sweet, what I do with this is open this pack and I pour a little part of the pack if I just want a little tinge. So I have gotten these cucumber Perrier cans at the grocery outlet. Sometimes they go on sale for some absurdly inexpensive price. So I get those. They don't have any sweetener in. If I'm feeling like I need a little something sweet, I pour that over ice and put just a little bit of this in. And I'm okay with stevia. Monk fruit is another sweetener that we talk about. I'll show you. I didn't think about getting all my products out here. I didn't know what we talk about, but I'll show you some things I use that I think are okay. This is a stevia and erythritol blend. Erythritol is a sugar alcohol. It is a natural ingredient. It's just not recognized by our bodies as a sugar, and so it passes through our system. And it can be like, it can have a similar effect that like beans do. If you eat too much of it, you have a little bit of it in a cup of coffee. It's not, I don't think it's going to hurt you or it's going to affect you unless you are highly sensitive or allergic to it. But I really like this. I think it tastes like sugar. And then this is a new one that I'll be experimenting with because I listened to a person online that talks about all these different things. And this is another kind of 0-calorie sweetener that is also natural. And it has no glycemic impact on the system. Again, we're better off in the whole if we can reduce the sugar, the craving, the addiction that we have for sweet things. But once we break the addiction, we can incorporate a little bit of something sweet, just like Grisha was saying. She wants a little something sweet at the end of the day. And a little bit of this is not a big deal. The problem is that I was listening to this doctor that I was telling you about the other day talk about how much refined sugar and flour the average person eats in a day. It's like a pound. A pound.
Mhm.
So that's way too much. And if we're eliminating it from our processed foods by eating whole foods, and then we're having a little of this here and there with something that we make, I think we're no problem. And then this is monk fruit. This actually does come from a fruit called the monk fruit. It is a sugar. It's just not a sugar that our body recognizes as a sugar that spikes our blood sugar. So you can eat that. It has a really good taste, and I would feel fine about recommending that one. Yeah. So, I will.
I can tell you one thing about the artificial sugars.
Yeah.
The gum that we get with the artificial sugar,
Huh?
never give that to your dog.
Right.
It is deadly for dogs.
Yeah. Yeah, that she's referring to now xylitol is not really artificial, but it is the sugar alcohol, and it would be something that dogs you wouldn't want to give to them.
Yeah, I know, because my nephew's big dog got up on the cupboard and grabbed a package of gum and ate it all.
Mhm.
And they had to take him to the vet, and it was like $2,000 for the vet bill.
Wow. Yeah,
So-
that's the problem when we have those things. Dogs are so apt to try to get into things, so we have to have those ingredients. Okay, so we didn't hear from Michelle yet. Would you like to talk, Michelle? So you can unmute your.
Sorry. I was having trouble pulling the little icon up. I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't really have anything to add to it.
Okay.
But I'm just enjoying the talk.
Okay, we're glad you're here. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, how about Kayla? Kayla, would you like to chime in a little bit? Okay.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, I'm actually a director of a senior center, so I'm just popping in to see what one of the classes looks like and if this is something we should offer our membership. So thanks for letting me be incognito here. And
by all
observe.
means, come.
Does anybody
are
want to
so
say
good.
anything, Kayla? Yeah, talk to Kayla. Tell her about your experience while you're here, while she's here. Anybody want to give her any input?
Oh,
I will. These classes have been great. The programs have been great. There's such a variety. And especially in the pandemic where we're not able to go out and do things. I was working up until I was working until I started taking these classes. So I was keeping busy with work, but this was a godsend to have something to do. And there's such a diverse variety of classes that everybody would find something that would suit their interest.
This is Michelle, and I've taken several classes, several different types of classes, and I'll use the term the technology, the video, the voices, the scheduling, the sign up, it all works well. There's never any hiccups or confusion regarding those things.
I'd like to add, I've taken several classes myself. I've enjoyed them all, particularly since I'm home a lot. And I'd also like to commend them for their support system, because I've had to call about different issues or text them or email them, and I've gotten responses right back. So I'm one that really is a person that appreciates good follow-up and good service. Besides the classes, I've enjoyed them all, and I've taken a lot of them and look forward to taking a lot more.
Thanks.
I have something to add also. I taken basically live alone and I am taken disabled. And the thing is, Get Set Up has helped me form friendships, although they're taken basically on Zoom and such. And it really has taken and helped me with the social isolation. And I find that if I'm less socially isolated, I'm taken basically less depressed. And it's really, and the guides, all of them are taken really wonderful. If you take and attend lots of their classes, they're always glad to take and see you back. And so they become like you're almost your second taken, basically distant taken in family. And everybody really taken care of, from support down to the guides to the rest of the taken basically participants. So it's a really great taken place to take and hang out, to take and beat social isolation.
I also enjoy them. I've been retired at the beginning of this year, and I found it's a really great way of occupying myself. I've been educated. All tutors I find are very well, are professional. They know the subject really well. And I find I knew very little about the computer and I find just over these last 3 months, I think I know quite a bit now, and I'm at the point now where I think I can teach some of my friends and so on. And I think it's a really great way of doing it, and the price is right.
Well, thank you all. My goodness, I couldn't have said all those things. That's wonderful. And Sheila, just so you know, we do have such a variety, and I'm sure you're learning about this, but the classes are set up in different ways. So there's one hands-on, there is this kind of chatting, there are interest groups. So there's a huge variety. And this is this class on Let's Talk Cooking. This is brand new today. So we're just having a conversation and sort of setting the stage for what might come in the future with this class. But you can see that everybody seems to be enjoying participating here in the session. So
I'm doing a new one. I'm doing a new one on Wednesday night. It's called Love Me, Love My Pet. But that's what I find. There's everything from making sourdough bread to cooking classes to travel classes to computer classes, just anything you want. Just look at the schedule and you'll find it. And if you can't find it, tell us, we'll get somebody to do a class on it.
There you go.
Maybe what we should do is do a class on seniors in long-term care. There you go.
Yeah. So that's great. That's exactly the way we do it. We listen to what our learners are looking for. And I have to tell you, we have a lot of fun too. So this gives me a chance to talk about a class that'll be new next week. And it's for fun. And what's coming up on May 1st? Anybody know?
The Kentucky Derby.
The Kentucky Derby. So I made a hat. I made a hat for you guys to wear, so I can wear it to the class, and I'm hoping that it will inspire you to get some cheap old gaudy flowers and glue them to a hat and come to the class too, or make a masterpiece. I don't know. Look at this. I even have, I thought this was pretty great. Even found a Kentucky bourbon bottle. So, anyway.
There you go.
Yeah.
She was so creative.
So we'll have fun with that one, and lots of new classes coming up, and they all just gave tons of good ideas here today. I took lots of notes about things, and I'm thinking about some experts that we can bring in to talk about things, because we all know a lot, we teach each other a lot, and then we bring in some other resources that can push us a little more on to the next thing to learn. So it's pretty great.
Kayla, I have a question for you. In your home, do you have, in your seniors residence, do you have a lot of seniors who are on computers still?
So I actually am a director at a senior center. So we serve folks that tend to still live at home, or they live in like a housing area where they can still independently get to the physical center. So I have worked at a assisted living and memory care facility before, but that's who we serve. And I would say as far as how many people are getting on, it's definitely been a struggle. You know, I think for a lot of people, they've been forced to learn something they never thought they'd have to learn, but it's become like a necessity. And we've tried to just support people in better understanding technology in the ways we can remotely, because that's a challenge too. Like, how do you teach somebody how to use a tool when you can't sit next to them and poke the buttons and show them what to do? So, but I know for us, when we reopen, one of our big things is making sure that we're providing technology support classes. And that's another reason why we're looking at Get Set Up, because I know they have a lot of those classes. And for the folks that are able to get on Zoom already, it would be great to be able to support them in that way. And then we also would have less of a demand when we open, right? That some of those people have been supported, and then the people that really need the in-person, we could support here physically at the center. So. Thank you, Deb, for asking those questions. It was nice to hear from the people here and what their experience is. So I appreciate that time, and I appreciate everybody's feedback.
You're very welcome, and thanks for stopping in on this session. And thank you all. And I want to just give anyone another opportunity. I'm going to ask you to just, if you have anything else that you want to say, but I'm also going to float this question so you can think about it for the next 30 seconds or so. And the question is, what might we want to focus on? What one or two things might we focus on in the next Let's Talk Cooking session? Because we talked about a lot of things today, and it might be nice to have just the tiniest bit of structure. I don't know. I'd be open to your thoughts and opinions about that. So I'll just kind of be quiet now and hear what you have to say. Any ideas? You want me to bring a topic, or go ahead?
This is Michelle. And what I struggle with is my family is growing, you know, with marriages and grandchildren and everything. And when we're all together, I struggle with cooking breakfast for a large group. So I'd appreciate hearing how other people accomplish this task.
Okay.
French toast casserole. And economically.
Okay. You know what? I love that idea. I'm going to make that one of the topics for next time. So if you do come next time, bring your ideas for that, and we'll share those with Michelle. I know we're not always going to have the same consistent membership, but it might be interesting to whomever shows up. So does anybody else have another topic?
Well, I have an idea in mind. French toast casserole. For you know, you make it the night before, and you take and put it in the fridge and throw it in the oven in the morning.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, Carol Sue, I'm working on a Mother's Day brunch menu, and I have one of those on the menu. So if you want to come to that class, we'll go through the recipe for that too.
All right, that's good. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. So maybe, how about herbs next time? Anybody want to just, you want to talk about herbs a little bit, since that seemed to be such a common.
I'd sure like to learn how to keep herbs fresh when I buy them. No matter what people tell me to do, for whatever reason, I don't know if the house is too warm, too cold, the weather, the humidity. I put water in a jar, put a plastic bag. No matter what I do, they don't last long.
You're talking about the fresh ones that you bring in.
Exactly.
Cilantro and parsley. Yeah.
Right.
And so have you done the parsley in the refrigerator in water with a bag over? You've done all of that together?
I've done right now cilantro, and someone said it'll stay for weeks. I've had it for 4 or 5 days, changing the water, and it's already showing drooping, and I'm going to probably have to today will probably be my last. So evidently I don't know what I'm not doing or doing, but
Well, Grisha, do you think it could also be the age of the cilantro when you buy it from the store? You know, I think about those stems not being able to uptake water at some point because they've just been dried out at the end. So
I'm gonna turn off, Deb, because I have somebody here and the dogs are barking.
okay.
I have thought about that, but boy, when I buy the herbs, they are beautiful, full, fresh, green, and but I put them in fresh water when I get home. But I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what.
Frustrating. I wonder if at least next time, maybe try clipping the bottom ½ inch off and see whether starting with the fresh stem.
And I do that and I put fresh water in.
Yeah.
So,
challenging.
but I know other people say they've had great luck with certain containers I don't know.
So there we
But
go. There's our
yeah.
challenge for next time. Anybody who shows up can bring their ideas for keeping herbs fresh and we can all experiment with that. I'll do the same between now and the next time. So we're going to do herbs. We're going to do breakfast for a large group, or keeping herbs fresh, breakfast for a large group, and maybe bring your favorite herb uses for particular dishes, things that you like to use, just to share that to get us started. And in the meantime, I'll be looking for somebody I might be able to interview that can tell us more about herbs in a regular class. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
I'd like to see something for cooking for one. My
Oh,
family was 6 and all of a sudden the kids went off to college, they got married. I divorced my husband and guess what? I'm down to one person cooking.
yeah. Yeah.
It's not fun. So I have my meals brought in they're called Heart to Home, and they're like a TV dinner but much fresher than the TV dinners. And so I have a meat, a vegetable, and a starch, either rice or potato, and it's great because I could just pop it in the microwave 6 minutes and I've got a meal.
Yeah, that is nice. It is hard to want to cook for yourself when you're the only
Yeah.
one, so I can appreciate that. Yeah.
And
So
can I just mention one thing along those lines? There's a wonderful website. I don't use any of the recipes, but it's either called Cooking for One or Dish for One. And she has a fabulous reputation. And I think her name is Joni, and I'm going to say Fiske or something like that. But every day something pops up and people refer to her. And her dishes look fabulous. She gets raves and she has a huge following.
you know what?
I'll have
Thanks
to look for
Jackie.
that.
I'm going to reach out to her. I'm going to look her up and reach out for her. Maybe we can have her into a co-hosted session here. So that's great advice. That's great, a great tip. Okay, I
Thank
better
you,
let you
Deb.
go. It's after 12 o'clock.
Thank you so much, Deb.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy that you made
Thank
this.
you, Deb. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.